like the Chinese acrobats he had seen at the Hippodrome, then the one at the peak might have just reached the arched apex of the doors. Holloway had an air of romance for the boy. He imagined beautiful, helpless girls trapped inside its thick stone walls, waiting to be saved, primarily by himself. On hand to document the excitement was a photographer from the Empire News, identified by a card stuck jauntily in his hatband. The boy felt a kinship. They were both in the news business after all. The photographer was taking a group portrait of a bevy of beauties. The boy knew about such young women because he was not above leafing through the tattlers and bystanders that he pushed through the letterboxes once a week. The beauties, unlikely in this neighbourhood, were posing in front of the prison gates. 3 looked to be in their 20s and sported plush fur against the early morning cold. The 4th, too young to be a beauty, was in a worsted school coat. All 4 were striking elegant poses as if for a fashion plate. None of them seemed a stranger to the admiring lens. The boy was smitten. He was easily smitten by the female form. The photographer transcribed the beauties' names into the notebook he excavated from a pocket somewhere so that they could be identified faithfully in the paper the next day. Nellie Coker had a hold on the pictures editor, an indiscretion of some kind on his part, the photographer presumed. "Ho there!" he shouted to someone unseen. "Ramsay, come on, join your sisters!" A young man appeared and was brought into the huddle. He seemed reluctant, but gave a rictus grin on cue for the camera flash. Then, with no fanfare, a small door set in the great gates of the prison was opened, and a short, owlish woman emerged, blinking at the oncoming light of freedom. The crowd cheered, mainly the toffs, shouting things like, "Well done, old girl," and "Well, come back, Nellie," although the boy also heard a cry of "Jezebel" go up from somewhere in the middle of the crowd. He suspected the drab gabardine. Nellie Coker seemed lacklustre, and the boy could see no likeness to what he had heard of Jezebels. She was almost dwarfed by the enormous bouquet of white lilies and pink roses that were thrust into her arms. One of the beauties was carrying a large fur coat which she threw around the released prisoner as if she were trying to smother a fire. The boy's mother had done much the same thing when his baby sister had fallen in the grate, her loose smock catching the flames. They had both survived with only a little scarring as a reminder. The beauties crowded around, hugging and kissing the woman, their mother, the boy surmised. The younger one clung to her, in what in the boy's opinion was a rather hammy fashion. He was a connoisseur of the theatrical. His round took him to all the stage doors in the West End. At the Palace Theatre, the stage doorman, a cheerful veteran of the Somme, let him slip into the gods for free during matinee performances. The boy had seen No No Nanette 5 times and was quite in love with Binny Hale, the luminous star of the show. He knew all the words to Tea for Two and I Want to Be Happy, and would happily sing them if requested. There was one scene in the show where the chorus and Binny, the boy felt that he had seen her enough times for this familiarity, came on the stage in bathing costumes. It was thrillingly scandalous, and the boy's eyes nearly popped out of his head every time he witnessed it. As a drawback, in order to gain free entry, he had to listen to the long-winded wartime reminiscences of the doorman, as well as admiring his collection of blighty wounds. The boy had been one when the war began, and, like sin, it meant nothing to him yet. Ramsay, Nellie's second son, was made to relieve his mother of the burden of the bouquet, and was caught by the photographer holding the flowers like a blushing bride. To the annoyance of his sisters, and himself too, this would turn out to be the photograph that graced the newspaper the next morning, beneath the heading, "Son of notorious Soho nightclub proprietor Nellie Coker."